Whispers in the tunnel, red lights start to fade. Rumors in the air that Rhule might trade. Penn State calling, so what's been said? Still it hangs in the smoke inside every head. Top 25, yeah, the critics took note. Ranked again, red rising, that's the quote. Minnesota steady, calm before the fight. But we've been waiting, it's our Friday night. Rhule in the huddle, grin through the glare, looks to the crowd. He ain't going nowhere. We're the ones in the shadows waiting for the spark to fly. Broken chair, midnight glare, we don't live, we thrive. They can talk, they can spin, but the truth's still here. Huskers are rated, and the Huskers are here.
Return to Glory podcast. Hunter Zarbanicki, Dakota Freetag, Austin. Hopefully will be joining us here in a little bit. It's Thursday morning, bright and early. It's also a short week, Minnesota week. Friday night at Minneapolis. Dak, you're a Golden Gopher fan.
Row the boat. I got the. Damn, I didn't wear the shirt today. I do have a shirt that says row the boat.
One of your self-proclaimed fandom teams that you're not a fan of.
I will not. I will not ever say I'm a Gophers fan. I watch them casually.
Nope, you have said that. You've said you're a Minnesota fan before. The Gophers.
If they're like, yeah, yes, I'll root for them if they're playing like Purdue or like Rutgers or something like that. I'm not going to root for them if they play Nebraska or any like. Okay, they play anybody besides Nebraska and Oklahoma, and that's it. I will root for the Gophers. Yes.
And the Vikings, and if anybody goes to the Vikings.
Yep. Max Brosmer is there this year. What'd you think of him last year?
He's great.
Yeah, he is. Hey, the good part is from our last podcast on Sunday to now, we don't have much to talk about. There hasn't been much in the news.
No. And I do want to talk about that. I'd like to get Austin on here, but that we're just going to do it now because I think that's the juice of the week. And the juice we're talking about, obviously, is Matt Rhule, rumored to be a leading candidate at the job at Penn State, which we mentioned at the end of the previous episode. That was prior to Rhule's press conference on Monday, where he addressed it for about 10 or 15 minutes at the beginning of his press conference. And that's been the main topic of conversation here amongst Husker Nation this week. Here's what I don't want to do, Dak. I don't want to sit here and talk about this for every week until the end of the year. I want to get this out of the way. I want to talk about it, express our thoughts on it, and then move on, and we'll see what happens. I hope that is how the rest of Nebraska handles it as well. I just don't know that will be it. Talk about distractions, talk about other things. Of course, when things are going well for us, 5-1, favorable schedule, something like this has to come in and throw a wrench in everything. I do think Rhule does a good job of keeping people focused and locked in and avoiding outside noise. It's kind of been a message all year, to be honest, prior to any of this. But that being said, naturally, the conversation and the noise is going to be there for Rhule potentially leaving to going to Penn State.
See, that's the way it should be. Is with the media and everything, they've already asked him all these questions. Just ask him this 1 week and let it die. Just play the rest of the season. don't bring up which is going to be brought up a lot. The fans and everything will bring it up. But in a perfect world, we hope that it's done after this week and dead. Now, the only week I think that we might mention again after this is the Penn State game. We will talk about that week because obviously there's a reason there. We'll talk about it. But yeah, it's which we're gonna dive into here in a second. It's a it's a bad situation just because Nebraska's finally turned the corner and something like this happens, or at least we feel like Nebraska finally turned the corner.
Yeah, I think we're ranked again, right, for the first time in a long time, and it's not like we play some of the top teams in the Big Ten coming up. Like we have very winnable games.
Mm-hmm.
If we do this right as a program, including everybody involved, this should not affect the direction of Nebraska football moving forward. And that's if Rhule stays or leaves. I don't want people to think, oh, Rhule's gone, we have to restart. No, we don't. No matter what progress we're making now, we can build on that if Rhule leaves. If he doesn't leave, obviously, I think we all are in pretty much agreement that we're feeling like we're moving in the right direction. Now, there's obviously 6 games left too. It's not like we're back to where we need to be. Like we're moving there.
Before you dive into it, are we both in agreement? If he gets offered the job, he's taking it, right?
Well, yeah, and I think there's a lot of questions to ask, and we'll ask Austin right when he joins. Like, but there's 2 questions. I think first question: do you think that he gets offered the job? Yes or no? And then 2, if he gets offered the job, will he take it? So you asked if he gets offered the job, will he take it? Yes. I'm saying yes to that.
100% yes, I think.
You're saying yes to that. And then second part, do you think he gets offered the job? Yes or no?
If it's up to the AD, yes, because it sounds like they're best friends, but you brought up a good point I completely forgot about. It's not up to the AD, it's up to the donors. And I was listening to different podcasts about this, which this throws a little wrinkle in that Penn State game is when he goes to Penn State, say Nebraska blows him out, is that good or bad for Nebraska? Because the fans there be like, holy crap, we might actually want him. So that's another wrinkle in that game is do you want to look fantastic in that game? Because that's like his showing out party for Penn State, kind of.
Yeah. I'm going with yes. Basically, to summarize my thought, if I had to make a prediction, I'm going to say he's coaching at Penn State next year. But yes, that Dak, you made a great point. I do think that it's up to the AD, like to make the call and the announcement and basically assume it's his decision. But when we talked about it with all of the Nebraska coaches that we've hired in the past and football, but other sports included, it's up to the people that have the money. And all of these people, there's a lot of them, right? You're talking about the donors, the board of directors that are out there at Penn State. You're talking about a ton of different people. I mean, now with NIL, there's more than that. Now there's collectives. Everyone that has the money are the ones that are going to be driving the decision on whether Rhule is the guy or not. We don't know. We're never going to know the insight to those people. The AD might have his opinions. We know the connection with the AD. I even learned a little bit even more about Rhule's connection there and that he went to high school in State College. And remember, if people don't know, State College is in the middle of nowhere, Penn State. It's not like it's a metro area. So Rhule's ties to Penn State are like strong and very deep as far as, it's home. I'll bet you if you ask him, Matt, where are you from? and he's going to answer State College, Pennsylvania.
Mhm.
Like that's just his answer. So I do think, yes, if he gets offered the job, he's probably going to take it, and that's the reality of it. I just think that's it. The question is, Willie. Austin is here now. Austin, we have two questions. One, if Matt Rhule gets offered the job, will he take it? Yes or no? That's what we just did.
Gut reaction, no.
Okay, do you think he gets offered the job? That was the second question.
No.
Okay. So I said yes to both. Dax said
Yes, and leaning yes, but not 100% yes on the other one.
no. Also, we said we're only talking about this now for like half of this episode, and then we're not talking about it again.
Besides the Penn State preview.
Unless there's like actual news that comes out that he does or doesn't take it. But yes.
I understand your statement, and definitely when you watched the press conference for both Penn State and Matt Rhule, it felt like the Penn State guy was laying the groundwork to hire Matt Rhule because he was basically repeating a bunch of things Matt Rhule always says. And then Matt Rhule was like, "Hey man, like you said, that's where I'm from. You know, I probably came out of the womb wearing a Penn State jersey. It's like, I don't know. Those are some weird things to say when you're coaching another team.
Rhule is going to say it as it is. He said to. He's going to be transparent and honest with his guys too. Like we know that's Rhule's personality. So I am not surprised the way it came out and the way he talked Monday. That's it. He literally just speaks his mind a lot to the point where all the way to where he can. So yes, I agree. That's how it came out.
And then yesterday or 2 days ago, where he's talking about, Nebraska needs to spend more money. Like, I can't tell if he's trying to squeeze more money out of the boosters or what. If I am a Penn State fan, if I'm Penn State, you fire a guy because he couldn't win the big games. I just struggle to be like, we're gonna hire this guy, and it really depends on how the year goes, I guess. But Rhule's 1-20 against top 25 teams in his career. Like, I can't see you justifying that well, being like, hey, we just fired a guy who was 15-26 against big teams because he couldn't get it done, and we're gonna hire this other guy who has also no proven record. I still think you have to hire someone who's had some success against ranked opponents. Maybe I'm being negligent or just, in denial, but
Yep. A couple things to unpack there. First, with the Penn State wanting him, we know nothing. Right? Everything that Husker fans are saying and that you're probably reading and seeing and hearing, like, is all complete speculation from a Nebraska fan's perspective. Like I know one Penn State fan, my uncle, and he wants Rhule. He thinks he'd be a good coach. He lives out in Maryland. Is actually who he visited out there, and he thinks Rhule would be a good hire. That's the only person I know. I don't know anything about their boosters, and again, the AD, we know that situation. We don't know. We're just speculating based on what we're hearing now, and of course, the people that want Rhule to stay, they're going to give reasons why he wouldn't be a good hire for Penn State. My question, I guess, when you go through that list, and actually kind of when we go through the list of play the what if card if Rhule's gone, the list for Nebraska, like, who are the other coaches out there
that is a good counterpoint. I totally
right
agree with
now
that.
are in candidacy for that job, and some of the names, there's a whole bunch of names out there. Penn State is a very top tier job in the country, so
you have a bigger list to pick from when you're Penn State.
you do. So, like, who those people are, I mean, you could throw out a ton of names. How many proven successful coaches right now are there in college football? That's
available, not many.
Yes. So that's the other caveat to that is, yes, that narrative of Rhule hasn't won big games a lot. He hasn't. He hasn't proven that yet. Rhule right now is everywhere he's been. What kind of coach is he? He's a rebuilder. Penn State doesn't need rebuilt. Penn State's built already. They need someone that can win immediately and now. They need probably some culture things to change a little bit, and an in-game type coach. Rhule's not an in-game coach though. Like that was the concern, was Penn State didn't know how to coach in games. They had the players, the talent, culture's pretty good, but they just don't know how to win the games correctly. Well, that's not really Rhule.
And when we say
Here's
don't know
the
how to win the games correctly, they just don't know how to win 1 or 2 games a year.
Right.
here's the thing about him being a rebuilder, though. He hasn't coached a team that's been already built. Baylor, Temple, and Nebraska all need a rebuild. So we don't know how he jump into a team that's already built.
Right. That's the unknown.
No, I definitely I could see it. I would not be shocked if it happened. And
Would you
the
be mad if he
real.
left for Penn State, Austin?
Would I be mad? I'd be mad if he left and then took Dylan Raiola and Mike Eckler and Dana Holgerson.
Yeah.
That would be the part. It wouldn't be if he left, it's like, okay, but if he gets the team in the process and takes all of our good players and our best coaches, which is, a real thing that very well could happen, I would be devastated. It'd be like all of the last 3 years didn't matter. We're starting from square one.
Okay. I know we're talking in a lot of circles, but I want to come back to all that, what you just said, because I do. Actually, you know what? We'll just piggyback off of that. I don't think that it's going to affect our program much. I don't think Dylan's leaving. I don't know about like Eckler. I don't think Eckler's probably leaving. I don't know that if Rhule takes that job, things have to change much for Nebraska football as far as the momentum that we have currently sitting right now on October 16th. We obviously still have a season.
The season could spiral here.
And the question, the point here is our season doesn't have to spiral, and it shouldn't spiral if we don't, as fans and media and outside forces, force it upon the team to make it a big deal. And you talk about outside noise. Yes, there's going to be natural spot here. And this week's going to be the heavy one because the news came out. And it's going to stay around. I hope and I think we won't hear stuff here for a while. If it's Rhule, if it's not Rhule, because right now it's still the middle of the season. And there's probably a lot of discussions and things like that in Penn State to do before naming a head coach. So if we stay out of it and not keep poking the bear in the conversation, regardless whether Rhule leaves or stays, we're sitting in a good spot for moving forward, assuming this year we can ignore it and continue to build on where we're at. If we don't, I think it will be our fans and media's ignorance. I'm glad I watched Thursday's press conference. I'm like, please God, nobody asked him about Penn State again. And nobody did. And I was like, holy kid, okay, like this is good. Sorry, Wednesday's press conference, because today's Thursday. So I was like, okay, we didn't. Of course, the first question Monday, though, we talked about it for a while, and I was like, oh boy. And Rhule handled it like you should.
You have to ask on Monday. You have to ask.
You do. But guess what? The leading job, and I know it's a little bit different. Who's another leading candidate right now that you guys have heard? Let's see if you can
Kurt Cignetti.
Okay, boom, Cignetti. Guess what? In Monday's Indiana press conference, not a single person.
Yeah, but there's a total difference when the GM or the AD is like your best buddy. You grew up in Penn State.
A little bit, yes. Rhule is
total difference.
The leading candidate, but Cignetti is another one, and they didn't ask him about it. So what I'm just saying, and I'm glad the Husker media has not brought it up again yet. Like, we got his opinion. We know where he sits right now on it all. Whether you like it or not, some people didn't like it or aren't going to like it for the future here. We don't have to let it derail our program. Rhule has done a pretty damn good job of building us. I'm not going to say complete rebuild, but building us in a positive direction so far. We can keep building on that, obviously, with him here. But even if he decides to go, we don't have to blow it all up, because if we blow it up and make it a big deal and say, why would you leave? Blah, 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 blah. Guess what? He probably is going to go to Dylan Raiola a little more pushier. And he probably is going to go to Isaiah Hunter. Probably is going to go to Rex Guthrie. And probably, I mean, he's going to try anyways. But if you really disrupt the situation, he's going to try even more to say, come with me. Get out of this place. They're toxic.
Like
I'm not saying he's going to call us toxic. He's not ever going to say that publicly. He's probably not ever going to say that to the players. But the more reason that you give him and negatively have that perception of him leaving, it's going to set us back here further. And Austin, what you said, he could take a lot of people. And if that scenario does happen, then we are back, not back to square one, but we take a big step back of having to rebuild again. We don't have to do that. If Rhule wants to leave, it makes sense.
I think the most comforting thing that happened was when Raiola got asked about it. He's like, he's not going anywhere. He's our coach. So that means like Rhule has addressed in the locker room, and he's not going to let it derail this season.
I do believe on that whole side of things, like out of any human being to handle it with college kids, Rhule's the best person to do that. He's very good at that stuff. And I do think, coaches can be the sleazeballs and say, no, I'm not going anywhere. And they say it publicly. And then 2 days later it's announced and everybody's like, what the fuck? It's not going to happen with the Rhule.
Yep.
He did that at Baylor with the Panthers.
It's not going to happen with the Rhule here.
No, I don't think that he wants to leave Nebraska if he does leave Penn State. He wants to leave Nebraska in a good spot.
Everybody does.
Yeah. Now, like you're saying is, if the fans and the media turn on him, he's gonna say, "F this, I'm not gonna leave him in a good spot." Like,
the fans and media won't turn on him. They didn't even turn on Scott Frost, and he was terrible. The fans did, but the media did not.
And I wouldn't say when I say turn, I don't think any of us are going to say you're dumb idiot. Why would you go but
more annoy him,
annoy him, and again, pending how the year goes to finish the year out. If we lose a couple of games, now hopefully we don't. Hopefully we just keep winning. Then things are really good and we're in a good spot. But if we start to lose a couple of games, start throwing that out there as an excuse or a reason for why we're losing. Oh, you think the loss to Minnesota? You think this week, distraction with all of Penn State and everything was a big factor here in losing this game, and bringing up that a lot. That was my best Sean Callahan impression, by the way. You think that that's going to be a conversation? Rhule's going to get sick of hearing that if we're losing a game or losing games, because he won't believe it. I won't either. Like, that's not why we're losing. He's still trying to build. He's trying to lead. If he is leaving, he's trying to lead Nebraska at a good spot, because I do think he truly cares about this place and loves it here. So it's not. There's obviously no ill will against Nebraska unless we give him ill will against Nebraska.
That being said, I do think if he was leaving, he's not gonna be like, hey, if you guys want to come play for me in Penn State, we can make it happen. I mean, if Raiola's like, hey, I want to, if Raiola, I don't think he's not gonna straight up be like, Nebraska sucks, you just come to Penn State with me. But he's definitely gonna have the conversation of,
oh yeah,
greener pastures, my friend.
Oh yeah.
So.
And that leads into, Austin, what you mentioned earlier too about just Rhule's comments on the job itself. And I do think this is kind of my big last thing I want to unpack here before we start talking Minnesota. So sorry if you're here to listen to Minnesota preview. We had to give our thoughts on this.
Every Husker fan wants to hear.
Yeah, this is what they want to hear about.
Well, I mean, it's just what's the big news here. So I have to do this one time, but the job itself, and Rhule talked a lot about that, and I thought Rhule was a master on Monday in his position on how he handled it. he basically laid out his demands on what he thinks Nebraska needs to be an elite program. And I get it. Nebraska has a lot of resources. Nebraska is very well off from a facility resource financial standpoint for where we have performed the last 15 years. But Rhule's goal is to coach for the top of the top, the cream of the crop, the elite programs in college football. And he mentioned some of the things that Nebraska was at the forefront and at the cutting edge of when they were really, really good. We're not there, guys. We are not a cutting edge program and a leader in a lot of things right now. And he wants to be. All of the number, he threw out the 30 to $40 million roster thing. And I don't think he's brought that up a few times. Like he brought it up with the running back thing about needing to have the money to, to pay people. Like that's a real thing, obviously, in today's world. And we are not a elite program in college football right now. And yeah, winning comes with a lot of that. And that's part of it. We have not been very good. But Rhule wants to coach for an elite team. So if you want to ask me what's the better job, take all the past history out, Penn State or Nebraska, it's Penn State.
100%.
Yep. But I've heard other Husker fans saying that Nebraska's a better job, which is just they need their brain checked.
I agree, but that people do, and that's my point. Is we're naive. We're naive. If you're not ingrained in college football, and I'm not saying we are either, but other schools are getting way more advanced than we are. And yeah, we just had a brand new updated facility for our practice facility. That's a good step, right? The stadium upgrades and all that. Like that's another thing that kind of has gotten mentioned. Like we are, again, we're good. Like we are definitely a 7 or 8 out of 10, but Rhule wants to be a 10 out of 10. He doesn't want to settle and say we get what we're willing to accept. We're okay with being a 7 or 8 out of 10. He wants to be a 10 out of 10. And those programs, we could name, Dak and I did it the other day. We probably named 10 or 15 jobs from a big picture perspective are better than the Nebraska job. And it's just a true fact.
It was like jobs that are you stay for life. Basically.
Right, like jobs that you're probably not going to take much more of a step up.
And Penn State wasn't one of them, but
no, that's
on the edge.
Yeah, honestly, not even one of those. I would say it. So I don't think people realize there's way more money at some of these other schools. There's more support from financially is mainly what I'm talking about. But that's the world we live in because now it's with the players and everything that goes along with college football is now with money. So that being said, I think people have to rein that in. Nebraska is not the best job in the country right now. It's just a fact until we get back to main thing is the winning.
The only time it was the best job in the country was when Tom Osborne retired.
Yep.
When it was a national championship and the brand was as big as it'll ever get. It's tough because he's definitely talking NIL. I mean, he's saying we need more money. And I understand, but, it's like there is a limit. Like Nebraska's a state school. It has half the enrollment of Penn State. Like I just don't know if Nebraska's ever going to be able to spend as much money as Penn State.
Yeah, and there is a call it a limit, but I guess that's what Rhule's kind of saying is like I don't care where it comes from. I heard someone else say people remember Warren Buffett's not a Nebraska fan, which I thought that, if you didn't know, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Whoever those people are, I don't know who those are. It's not us. Like
Austin,
not me.
That it's a big deal. Like we have the 1890. That's great. I heard that, was it last year? I heard Texas A&M it was like 20 something different collectives that they are conglomerates that are raising funds. We have one.
Yeah.
We're
not oil country. We're not
East
Texas
Coast
Tech bankers.
And that's the world we live in. So yes, he's speaking to that all. Like he is expressing that as the current head coach at Nebraska. So like I thought but it's the reality of it. If you want to be, he's not settling for being we're going to be average and we're good at going 8-4, 9-3, competing for a play. He wants to be elite. At Penn State, he has the ability to be elite if things go well. At Nebraska, what is our ceiling? What's our ceiling? Can we buy enough players and roster and talent to ever win a national title again? I don't know if we can right now, like you said, Austin, because where we're at, that's part of it, unless something changes. So that's what he's saying. That's exactly what he's saying.
Yeah. I mean, yes, a team can win with less money.
Can just a lot harder.
It's a lot harder, 100%.
And
I think it's either there's the plea of there needs to be a cap or we need more money. Like that's basically what he's saying.
right,
Because we can't compete, and we're not the only school.
no,
I mean, the Minnesotas,
there's a ton of
Wisconsin, Iowas.
again,
Like,
we're I would say we're at or above all those schools, right? We're talking
yes.
we're talking elite, and we're not in any position to compete with the elites right now, or even put ourselves in the conversation. But for rules' sake, like you should want that. That's what you should want as a competitor, as a head coach, is to be elite, top of the line in everything that we do, and that's what he's talking about.
And it's a lot tougher now with this NIL era that we're in. Like, it's which I didn't know Warren Buffett was not a Nebraska fan, but I was gonna say, don't we have one of the richest people in the world or in the country in the state here? Throw some money, wink, wink, Warren Buffett at the program.
I mean, there are plenty of rich people that come through Nebraska or Nebraska fans, but we're not, like I said, a majority of students are farmers or in-state, and our pool is a lot smaller to squeeze from.
And the last thing that I heard that I loved this week too, we have to kind of get out of, in what Rhule's saying here too, we have to get out of the quote unquote Nebraska way when it comes to spending money. I think Nebraska people have that blue collar, tough nosed mindset of, no, we can just win on toughness and grit, and we can drive a beat up Chevy. We don't have
nowadays.
We don't have to drive the 2025 Ford F-150. We can drive the beat up and still kick your ass. Like I'm sorry, people, like we can't do that right now. Now, Austin, I agree. You get a cap on it, on money, and we're at that max along with 50 other schools. Okay, we can go back to that narrative a little bit, but we're not there. It is you got to compete with the elite programs. You have to buy them right now, and you have to have the access to that capital to do that. And I'm completely in agreement. We don't have the same ability as some of these other schools. Okay.
Before we dive into Minnesota, because it's our last podcast talking about this, you have to think about this down the road, and I have a wild name throw out there. Say Rhule does leave, who do you guys want as the next head coach?
James Franklin.
I don't want him.
It won't be a terrible hire.
No,
I don't want James Franklin.
He's too uptight for me. He's too, I don't know.
USF, the University of Southern Florida head coach.
Yeah, Golish wouldn't be. I don't mind him. I still really want Eckler. I don't know that Eckler will happen, but I think that would be awesome. I think he'd do a damn good job.
I am dead serious about the Eckler job, or getting the job here. I think that he would be a hell of a coach here. Like, dead serious. Now, there's one name I'm not that serious about, and this is going to be the only podcast you hear about this name thrown out there. What do you guys think about Will Compton?
Get out of here.
Just saying, F it. He has no coaching experience. Give him the job.
Okay, no on the head coach, but being involved with the new coach with some role.
Sure.
Yes. Not the head coach, but on the staff. Yes, potentially.
So you want to just say F it, we'll just give him the head coaching job?
No. No.
No.
No.
I mean that could either, if you give him that coach job, there's no in between. It's going to go absolutely fantastic, or it's going to be a train wreck real quick. And I think you'd lean towards train wreck, but it'd be it wouldn't be as crazy as Dion. If he would get the head coaching job, it'd be like a show here, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some promising coaches out, like Georgia Tech's head coach. I
Yep.
think Nebraska would be an upgrade over.
What do you think about Signetti? Do you think he would maybe?
He would never. He's not leaving
I don't-
Indiana.
I don't think Nebraska
He'll
would
leave-
be a spot for him. I think a lot of the same coaches that you're hearing right for the Penn State job, you're going to hear a lot of the same for Nebraska. Probably a little bit of a step down, but it's close. Like we're not a
We're
better
a big brand.
job.
We're an attractive job.
We're better than Virginia Tech. I'll put like Virginia Tech right now
Yes.
looking for a coach. We're higher than that. If it were to open up. The other one that I'll throw out there that I thought was interesting. Now, if Alabama keeps winning and is in the playoff and everything, it not happening. But if things fall off here with Kalen DeBoer at Alabama, I'm not saying he's not going to get fired, but he might just get sick of the
Because yes, let's
comparisons
leave
and
Alabama.
banter and want to come back to the mid. I mean, remember he's from South Dakota,
That's
so come
true.
back close to here. And also remember, guess who hired him at Washington? Troy Dannon.
That's
Yep.
true.
So again, he's not leaving. Obviously, they go 11-1. But
Well, yeah,
if things fell off, they don't make the playoff. Alabama fans are pissed. They want to change. They're probably not going to fire him because he's still in year 3 now? Is that right?
yeah,
2 or 3?
yes.
Year two.
So they're probably going to fire him, but I could see that being an option. But again, I shouldn't say this. If I had to say yes or no, will Rhule be our head coach of 2026? I'm putting my money on no.
I'm leaning towards no.
Well, I don't want you to lean. I want you to make a prediction, Dak.
No.
Austin's saying yes.
I say yes.
You guys are a hard no on Deion Sanders being the coach?
Hard no.
I'm
Okay.
muting you.
Okay.
Okay, let's move on. Minnesota talk here. That went longer than I wanted to, but I think it's important. Give our thoughts on it. Now we're not going to talk about it again. Short week. We play in less than 48 hours here from when we're recording this Thursday morning against the Gophers in Minnesota. Minnesota's, I didn't even look to see what their record was, but it's Minnesota.
4-2.
4-2, Dak. I think you mentioned to me they are a different Minnesota team than what we're used to. My brain has a hard time of me wrapping itself around. I think they do have a quarterback that, a redshirt freshman. He's more of a passer than a runner, which is what we've kind of seen. Now that this guy maybe can't run at all, or the other guys are a little more elusive that we've played the past few games. Darius Taylor's a damn good running back. Minnesota running backs have seemed to just feast on us in past several years, maybe not to the extent that Iowa running backs have, but close to it. And PJ Fleck, I think, has done a pretty good job of just being consistent and consistently good at Minnesota. That's my high level take on Minnesota, and it's hard to win up there. It's been there's a reason why I don't know what the stat is, haven't won there in a while, and
5 years.
They, even just playing them in general, it's a tough team to beat. So I think going up there is going to be a challenge. Obviously, there's noise this week. I think that's going to impact the team to some extent. You hope it's very little, but this team's going to try to go. We're going to try to go up there and win a football game and try to block everything else out. And I do think I think we're better than them. From a roster standpoint, I'm saying that a little bit of hesitancy, but I do think what we've seen, maybe we are. And it reminds me a lot of where I felt on Rhule's first game going up there. Our very first game in year 1. You guys remember the point spread?
No, I don't remember the point spread from
7.5, wasn't it?
It was 7.5 or 7. right now, and that's where it's sitting at now. It feels like we should win that game by a touchdown. We went up there with our boy Jeff Sims,
We lost by a touchdown.
lost by a touchdown.
Fumbled
Rule
it
was
away.
learning. We were learning. He like he said, he was learning the Big Ten. That was the first game of the year. And we've
Learn how to
grown a
pick a
lot.
quarterback.
Minnesota's also grown a lot.
Yep, we've lost the last 5. The last time we played them, we lost by 3, and then we lost by 7, 7, 7, 7. And then we got walloped by Minnesota one year. But yeah, you're right. They're consistently good. Minnesota hasn't quite ever made that jump. I don't. Is PJ Fleck ever on the hot seat? Is this the year he's on the hot seat? But they are 4-2. They lost to Ohio State, so that one's kind of a negligible loss to an extent because it's fair that they could compete with Ohio State. But they also lost at Cal, week 3. Last week they beat Purdue at home by 7. They beat Rutgers by 4 or by 3 before Ohio State at home, and then the other 2 were their tune-up games. So again, we're kind of in that spot where they didn't beat Rutgers or Purdue by a lot, but they did beat them at home. And we can read into that maybe they're probably worse than us, and we should win. The spread opened at 5.5 and has moved up.
It got
So
all the way up to 9.5.
yeah. But the fact that we're ranked makes me think that we're gonna lose. Short week, we went to Maryland. I mean, honestly, it feels like there's a fair amount of Penn State. I understand that Rule's probably speaking it in the locker room, like, hey, don't worry about this, guys. But we were at Maryland last week, and then we come home, short week, go up to Minneapolis. It feels a little not trap gamey, but I mean, it's one of the larger spreads against Minnesota we've had. We have not beat them in 5 years.
So if you were, and I've said this, I think every week this year, going into the season, and we were looking at our schedule, like this was one of those games that people they were calling it the trap game, right? But I think every game, if you had to predict a spread or put a spread on it, all the the season's kind of been up and down with news and stuff and the way the games have gone. This is about what I expected coming into the year. We'd be a touchdown or less favorite on the road, and this is the trap game for whatever reason of where we're at in the season. Like that still is a little bit how I feel, and now there's obviously added elements to it. Because it's Minnesota that we struggle with them. It's Friday night. I'm sure Husker fans are going to travel, but I don't think you're going to get as many because it's a Friday night game. It's harder to get to road games. People aren't going to be able to leave after work on Friday or travel Saturday morning, whatever. Like it's Friday night. There are going to be a lot of Husker fans there. I can bet that too, but just maybe not as much as there would be on Saturday.
It's gonna be a lot tougher road environment than Maryland. Like Minnesota,
yes.
Minnesota has a good fan base. I mean, you were up there. What was that, 2 or 3 years ago? And it was pretty loud there for a road game. Like it's not gonna be Maryland where it's 70% Husker fans. It's gonna be tough for.
It'll probably be 70% Minnesota fans.
Yeah,
It'll probably be like 30% Husker fans.
I might even venture to go further in that. I mean, yeah, I've been there twice. It's Dak, you're right. That Thursday night game, there weren't many Husker fans there. I mean, I remember that there's a little section that we were kind of sitting in. It was not very. It was nothing like a lot of the road games I've been to because of it was a weeknight. So yes, I'm with you.
The thing about PJ Fleck is he finds a way to win. It kind of reminds me of Ferentz at Iowa, which it's not to that extreme, but he just finds a way to scratch out wins. What talent he has, like Minnesota always has, seems like lesser talent, but he always gets his teams to 7-8 wins and hangs with the likes of Nebraska. They usually get blown out by Ohio State, Penn State, but they always hang around with these mid-tier teams. and then they usually come out with the win against Nebraska, which way it's been. It'll be interesting to see which I've never saw this watching the Gophers being a pass first team, and I don't know I don't know how that's gone so far, but I don't know. Like last week, what they throw the ball 45 times. That never happens with the Gophers.
Well, Tanner Morgan's pretty good for his old age.
Yeah, aren't you guys glad that Mo Ibrahim isn't back there?
Whoever. Yeah.
I'm glad that they're like 4 senior offensive linemen graduated finally.
Yeah.
Whatever the last time we played them, it felt like every offensive lineman was like a 4th or 5th year senior who is 6'4" and 300 pounds.
If Flex developed a culture there, you mentioned Ferentz, like the teams that probably don't have as much talent, but they develop a culture to put them at the top of this second tier that we're talking about in the Big Ten, top or towards the top. And that's the one we've been talking about where Nebraska's at. And we've been at the bottom of that tier, if not fell out of it in recent years. And we're back here and trying to climb towards the top of it. And Minnesota's another one of those teams. Maryland was, Michigan State was, where if we want to be at the top, we have to win a game like this. And where we've said that we do have better talent, but it's been the program, the culture, the one score losses, the pressure, all the stuff that's lost us these games, where Minnesota handles that very, very well. Iowa handles that very, very well. We look like we are handling that very, very well this year. So let's see if we can continue to climb and be the better football team, the better program that where we're at this week amidst all the news.
Does the fact that we're ranked give you pause?
Another noise. It's another noise thing. I think, again, it can be handled, but I'm with you. It's another added element. It's another added element. In a weird way, the Rhule stuff maybe is overshadowing that a little bit, which is a good thing.
Maybe.
In a weird way. I don't know exactly, but
it gives the other team more fire too. Like you're playing a ranked opponent here. And the fans
that's
too.
Also
like,
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one player from Minnesota to key on, and it's their safety. I have his name here. Kai
Perick?
Kai Perick. He is so freaking good at safety. He's a guy I would not even throw the ball towards. Like,
how do you know that?
Because I've watched the Gophers some this year and some last year. He's been there.
He does have a pick six.
and
a sack and a pass.
I wondered, out of everybody, that's the guy you pulled. I didn't know nothing about him.
Oh no, he's gonna be a pro.
Like,
I think
how do you
he plays
say the running back? His name.
Oh boy.
Fame Asia Boy.
Yeah.
Boy.
I mean, seriously, isn't that how you say that, Asia Boy?
That's how I would pronounce it, but it feels fake.
I have no. Yeah, I mean, I think Kai plays a little bit of offense too. I might be wrong on that.
He has rushed the ball once for -9 yards, and he has caught the ball 3 times for 55 yards.
So he's the next Travis Hunter.
Yeah, he's basically Travis Hunter 2.0. Yeah.
I will say, I mean, they do have 6 interceptions on the season, 6 passes deflected. So, and like their turnovers are actually pretty good for the year.
Yeah, they had 4 against Purdue. That's what they want to do, is turn over the ball.
Which, we always question on how good Purdue is, but we didn't do that against Houston Christian. So
I think Purdue's a little bit better than years past. But.
Yes, their defense, their secondary is good. You're not wrong. I think I'd say that's part of the strength of their defense.
So let's key things here when we're on offense. And you just mentioned it. Here's what I think is important that we establish against Maryland. We got a run game going. No, we did against Maryland.
Oh,
we actually got a run game going to where going into this week, we are now tougher to prepare for a little bit. Like Emmett Johnson was really good. So now as a defense, you're going, okay, we got to make a decision on what we're going to try to take away. And that's a really positive thing for Dana Holgorsen and this offense. So yes, their passing defense is strong, and we've said our passing offense has been our strength, but our run game kind of got going, and that makes you feel a little bit better about this game that we can run the ball a little bit. And Emmett had a damn good game, and also mentioned it's Emmett's homecoming. We're actually practicing Friday or Thursday at their high school, so having a walk through there. So that's also neat. It's a homecoming game for him. Yeah, that's my big thing to call out here on that side of the ball.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're right. I think I'm just a little panicked because things are going well, and this is where it always falls apart.
Scar tissue.
Yes,
Are,
but
are you also panicked because it's Minnesota?
and it is Minnesota. We haven't beat them in 5 years. That's a long time.
Also scar tissue.
Scar tissue. But yeah, I do think we're the better team. I think we should win. I never would have put money on us when we were plus 9.5. That's insane. I don't even know if I'd still put money on us at 7.5 because we won every game by 3 to 5 points. So I think you're right. The run game last week helps. If I had to guess how the game's gonna start, Emmett Johnson's gonna start the game with 3 rushes for 8+ yards every time because that's what we do every game. And then we're not going to do that for the 2 quarters in the middle, and then we'll finish the game in the fourth. And Dylan will look a lot better this week. I don't think he's going to have 3 interceptions.
I was going to say the turnovers are going to be a big thing, I think, on the road again. I don't think we're going to get away with what happened last week.
Correct.
The rest of the year, it's not going to happen. That was, and I'm going to call it luck, but it just doesn't happen. Losing the turnover battle by 3 and winning a game like that.
I already have a 7% chance of winning if you lose the turnover battle by 3.
10% chance of losing or winning?
7% chance of winning.
7% chance of winning. Okay.
It's less than that, I think, but yeah.
So that's not gonna happen again. And yeah, it's I have a bad feeling about this game, but
Dak, any offensive notes, comments for us?
I would think you'll be able to throw. Nebraska should be able to throw the ball a good amount on Minnesota as long as they stay away from Kai. Trust me, his name's gonna be brought up a lot.
He's gonna have a pick tomorrow.
Yeah, no, trust me, this guy's good, and he's gonna do something in this game that you just be like, wow, Dak was right, but I think I just don't think Minnesota's defense is that strong. The only thing they like to do is turn over the ball. That's where you got to stay away from. That's the main point.
I mean, it's kind of a battle of best. Like their pass defenses against our pass offense, which is what we're better at, and our run offense isn't as good as our run offense is as good, and their run defense is as good. So it's just kind of which one's a little bit better than the other, what they do best.
Yep, and then flipping over to that side of the ball. I mean, it feels like Maryland a little bit. I think Minnesota and PJ Fleck and the program in general, it's going to look like old Minnesota. I know they're playing a little bit differently this year. They're going to try to play old Minnesota against Nebraska because it's worked. PJ Fleck's beat us consistently, doing it the way that they've done it. And he knows that as a program. And what's that way been? It's been let Nebraska beat themselves. Now, we haven't beat ourselves a lot this year, so you might put a little hesitation on that. But Fleck is going to run the ball and not be ultra aggressive. He does have a freshman quarterback who's been pretty solid. They're not going to make mistakes. They're going to try to minimize their penalties and say, all right, Nebraska, go out and win this game amidst all the distractions. So, yes, while I think they are going to try to pass it a little bit, I think they're still going to go back to how they know how to beat Nebraska specifically and run the ball and do all of that against still probably our weakness of our defense. It is our weakness is a rush defense.
Yep, I agree.
Well, at least he ain't worried about the quarterback taking off and running. Now he probably will turn to Michael Vick. This
Yeah,
game,
that's
but
how it goes. Is when you're
yeah.
worried about it.
The
That's
Greek
what-
rifle, Ethan Kaliakmanis looked like that.
Yeah, he did.
game 2 years
he
ago.
did. He did take off and run. So yeah, don't come back at us when he has 85 rushing yards against Nebraska, but he shouldn't take off and run.
All right, score predictions.
Dak, go first. I'm still chewing on it.
Oh my God. 31-27 Nebraska. I think it's going to be similar to last game. Nebraska wins it in the end on a drive.
8.
So yeah, take the over again.
I think I'm going to be in the same ballpark again of the Dak. I'm going to go 31-24.
You guys have always been so much higher than me.
I've been real freaking. Last week I got it right.
You were. Yeah, you did. You did, didn't you?
You
Yeah.
nailed it?
Yeah.
Gonna put some money on it. Be a big winner. I'm always thinking lower, but last week wasn't that way. I'm gonna go with like a weird score. I'm gonna go 23-18. How they get there, I don't know. But 23-18.
I'm going to go 31-27. I think I would put money on Minnesota.
So
Minnesota
you're
to win?
picking Minnesota?
I'm not thinking most Minnesota win. I'd put them to cover the line, cover the spread.
Oh yeah,
Sorry.
I would. I would too. If you had $100, I definitely would throw it towards Minnesota here. But
Yeah, I've actually heard that a lot too on my national podcast I listen to on betting in college football. A lot of people like Minnesota.
it's just PJ Fleck. He's going to
Well,
keep it
because
close.
the line got bumped up from 5.5 to 9.5. Yeah, slam that.
Yes.
I'm disappointed I didn't get on it then.
But that tells you that all the smart better, all the sharps and stuff are taking them right off the bat. So there's something.
True.
All right. Good episode. We will be back. It'll be a little extra day of thinking, regardless of what happens, and be back Monday morning.
I'll watch the game this week.
About time.
Friday night game. Easy one to watch.
Thank God there's not a trip down to freaking Texas.
Quit mentioning that. No one cares.
Arch Manning sucks ass. All right.
Go Big Red.
GBR.
Go Big Red.
Whispers in the tunnel, red lights start to fade. Rumors in the air that Rhule might trade. Penn State calling, so what's been said? Still it hangs in the smoke inside every head. Top 25, yeah, the critics took note. Ranked again, red rising, that's the quote. Minnesota steady, calm before the fight. But we've been waiting, it's our Friday night. Raiola in the huddle, grin through the glare, looks to the crowd. He ain't going nowhere. We're the ones in the shadows waiting for the spark to fly. Broken chair, midnight glare, we don't live, we thrive. They can talk, they can spin, but the truth's still here. Huskers are raided, and the Huskers are here. Whispers turn to claps, rumors fade behind our tracks. Friday shadows fall, crowd starts to cheer. Huskers are back, and the Huskers are here. Friday shadows fall, crowd starts to cheer. Huskers are back, and the Huskers are here.